But I want to talk about the emotional aspect that comes with going through a divorce, period. I'm speaking for me and me only. Most traumatic shit I've ever experienced in my life. Because I've known that man since 15 years old. His family is the only family that I know. Because I don't have a relationship with my family. And in a matter of months, that man turned my world entirely upside down. I mean, from lies to finding out he cheated. On the same day I found out he cheated, my brother cousin dies. If you want me to explain what that means, I'll explain that in another video. And then about a month later, actually the day after we have our memorial service for my brother, next day I find out that I'm pregnant. Long story short, baby's no longer here. And I don't want to speak on that any further because I don't want to get emotional. All I'm going to say is going through all of these different experiences, it'll change your life. It'll change the chemistry in your brain. It'll change your mind in ways you didn't expect. I've changed in ways that I could not imagine. And sometimes it pisses me off. And yeah, some days they cool. I'm seeing the brighter side. And then other days I'm absolutely falling apart. But luckily, through God and God alone, He has blessed me with jobs, with a very, very, very supportive and loving man. I've never experienced anything like this. He's surrounded me by support and people who let me genuinely feel how I need to feel instead of giving me the cliche bullshit. They let me feel my feelings and don't judge me for it. I've been blessed. Just got blessed with a new place. So I've been blessed in the midst of this storm. I will never deny that. What I will say is, in the midst of all of this, it has been tough. So tough, a homegirl almost checked herself into a mental hospital last night and still thinking about it because I sometimes feel like I'm losing my mind. This entire experience has put me in a space where it's affecting my everyday living. But that's a whole nother story. I say all that to say that if you're going through just the divorce, forget all the other stuff that I'm going through. If you're just going through that alone, it's going to be tough. You're going to feel a wave of emotions. You're going to feel regret. You might feel anger. You might feel almost hatred, resentfulness. You'll feel all of these different things, and that's okay. Don't let nobody tell you how long you should grieve. Don't let nobody tell you anything. Feel how you feel for as long as you need to feel it. Don't stay there forever, but feel how you feel, because it's okay. You're not alone. And my inbox is always open for anybody that wants to go through the experience or that's going through the experience. Excuse me, I got distracted. And they just want somebody to talk to. I'm here. Because I understand. But anyway, have a good night. Make good choices. And I will see y'all on the flip side.
Listening to this lady talk about what she's been through, my first question is, why do people get married in the first place?
So my husband decided to drain our joint bank account and leave me after so much controversy on my videos. So on my main page, I made a video about how I didn't want to cook breakfast for my husband because I didn't want to go out of my way from making scrambled eggs to making a fried egg for him. And I said that he could do it himself. I don't cook for my husband. I never have, and I'm not going to be starting today. I'm sorry. I guess he got, wind of the videos, and yeah, he drained our bank account, and he has told me that I have to leave. At first, I thought he was the one that's going to be gone and that I was going to be able to stay here, but he returned and he said that I need to pack up my things and go. I told him absolutely not, because I have children, and me and my children are not going to be in the street. So I told him that he has to evict me. And the one that gave him this idea of leaving me was his birth giver. Yes. His mother was the one that gave him the grand idea to leave me after 15 years. It's honestly ridiculous and disgusting that this is even happening right now.
know, today is my 39th birthday. I just left the parking garage. If you guys have tuned in with me today, I shared some really good juicy stuff on my TikTok. But I have recently found the theme in my TikToks to be about vulnerability, transparency, and authenticity. Because it's truly liberating when you conduct yourself from that space. And I'm crying today because I was married when I was 19. I'm still actually married. I'm 39 today, so I got space from that relationship 3 years ago because I realized that I was abusing myself. I realized that I was shoving things down, and why I was doing that is because I wanted him to love me. And that's when I realized that I loved him more than I loved myself, and I needed to get out of it. So this kind of comes back to the theme of addicted to suffering. Don't be so sacrificial just in the sake of love for someone else to love you.
Marriage is an institution that was created by God, should not be entered into lightly. But what do? We get married. We enter into it lightly. We may not intend to in the beginning, but when things get difficult or things get hard, or we feel like we put in so many years, we bail when things get difficult or things aren't going the way we would want them to go. I'm not putting up with this no more. I've done this long enough, yada, 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 yada. Guilty. But the point I'm trying to make is when you look at all the broken families, the broken hopes and dreams, how do we turn this around? You see, I am pro-marriage mainly because I am pro-Christ. The one thing I have learned in my life on this earth is when I do things David's way, I always end up messing it up. When I do what David wants to do, I almost always end up messing it up. The human condition is not to want to wait on God to turn the situation around. But I want to give you something to think about. How many times have you sinned against God? How many times have you asked for forgiveness for the same habitual sin for the 400th time? Does God say, I'm divorcing you, I'm done? And like I said, I'm preaching to myself because I am guilty of doing just that. But my hope is as I've gotten older and learned a lot, is that we would become so close to Christ that our desire would be, what does God say about marriage and divorce? How does He feel? How does my Heavenly Father that gave me that book, the Bible, basic instructions before leaving earth, how does He view marriage? And then I need to align myself with how He views marriage. Because when I get in line with what His standards are, then I am in right standing with Him. And I know that those of you that may be watching this video that may be going through something very, very difficult, and I'm not downplaying it. Please hear my heart on that. What I don't want is for you to walk away from something when God is in the middle of doing something. A lot of people that are having difficult marriages, they haven't even taken it to God. Not only have they not taken it to God, they haven't been consistently praying for their spouse, going to battle for their spouse. See, the Bible tells us in the book of Ephesians that we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but we wrestle against principalities and powers in heavenly places. And what he's referring to, he's meaning your battle isn't with your spouse. Your battle is with the demonic entities behind your spouse that she's not even aware of that are there. So the point I'm trying to get you to see in this video is before you bail, before you run, make sure that you are doing things God's way. Make sure that you are seeking good godly counsel and that you're doing things in a way that will honor Him. Because again, when you do things His way, you get the blessings that go along with it. When you step outside of His will and you start doing it your way, then you get all the crazy and the chaos that goes along with that. Yes, is it heartbreaking to lose a marriage? I don't think any of us gets married with the intent of wanting to get out, but because we are influenced by our friends, by social media, by TV, by movies, by our own selfish feelings, God becomes an afterthought. And He is the last reason that we look to when we're trying to decide, do I want to stay or do I go? When I look back over my own life and I look at all the mistakes I've made, how many people could have bailed on me? And like I said a little bit ago, when you've committed that same sin for the 400th time, what if God says, you know what? I'm divorcing you. You can't get it right. I'm tired of waiting on you to get better. How many of you feel that way right now? How many of you are married to a man or a woman? And again, I'm talking Christian marriage here. And you feel like that person is not living up to what you deem your standards of what a spouse should be. Case in point, that's part of your problem right there. You're wanting this person to live up to your standards. Because when that person gets in line with God's standards, their standards should be what you desire them to be. Now, none of us are perfect. We're all going to make mistakes, and we're all going to blow it at times, and we're going to get it wrong. The point I'm trying to make, and I don't want to stay on here very long, is marriage is God's institution. He takes it very serious. We trample it with $200 divorces. I couldn't believe at the time I saw like a yard sign that said $200 divorces. Call this number. I mean, that's what we've been reduced to. And we wonder why families are so messed up. We look at all the crazy that's going on in this country with our young folks, and there is an order to everything, y'all. And when you take God out of that order and you institute chaos, what do you expect? If you don't have order, you have chaos. And when you get outside of God's will and you start doing things the way you think they should be done, you have chaos. So for those of you that are watching this video and you're going through a rough time right now, you're contemplating leaving, you feel like I've been married to this person for 10 years, maybe even 30 years, and you're like, I'm done. Now, I'm not saying that you should put up with a bunch of garbage, unless this person is wanting you to do something unethical, immoral, or illegal. That changes things. But if they're not, seek God's counsel and ask Him what He would want you to do. God's heart is to forgive. So God's heart would be, regardless of the circumstances, to forgive. It's not always easy. You're talking situations where there's been adultery and cheating, and I couldn't even imagine, But again, what do you want? Do you want God's best, or do you want your best? So I know some of you will have some criticisms of what I'm saying, and that's okay, because everybody has their own opinion of how they view marriage. I view marriage from the biblical perspective, and I really try to live my life that way, laying down my life for my wife every day, trying to be a servant to her, trying to love her like Christ loved the church, trying to practice the fruits of the Spirit, which is love, joy, peacefulness, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So, again, know that you guys are in my prayers and that I'm wanting nothing but the success of your marriage. Make sure you like this video if you haven't done so already. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I love you guys, and I will check you on the next one. Later.